Hey everybody, it's Doug Green and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News, and I'm here with Ross Hubble of Clearspan. Ross, thank you for joining me today.
Hey, Doug, thanks very much for having me. Looking forward to chatting with you.
Well, I'm really glad to be catching up with you. As we were just discussing, the last time we got together, you were talking about a channel partner program and VAR program and some other news connected to Teams. It was a very popular podcast, one of our best in 2024. So I'm hoping for great things on this one. There's all sorts of new news here. This is a special podcast for the Cloud Communications Alliance, NTR. And we're going to be talking about enterprise soft clients, Microsoft Teams, or an alternate. But Ross, before we jump into that, what is Clearspan?
Clearspan's been around in one iteration or the other since '78, really. Kind of what we've done for the last 10 or 15 years is we are a UC provider for other telecommunications companies. So not just a white label provider, but we provide a UC solution to other service providers, VARs, et cetera. And we have a very interesting way that we invoice customers and do business with our customers, in that we have a use what you consume model. So if our service providers or VARs, they can spin up as they desire additional users, and we just invoice them monthly for what they consume. And if they have a customer who has a lot of seasonal employees and they need to turn those users down after Christmas or the holiday season, then they turn those down, and then we just don't invoice them for those users until they spin them back up again. So in a nutshell, Clearspan is a service provider for service providers, and we want to make it easy for you to do business for us. So that's really at our core of what we are.
Now, you also focus on Teams, and that's what we're talking about today. What has changed recently with Teams?
One of the things that has occurred in our industry is with the January 2024 Microsoft uncoupled Teams from the O365 suite of applications. So what this did, in my mind, is kind of slow down the Teams trajectory that we had been seeing in the UC space over the last couple of years, and it slowed it down a little bit. We see a lot of customers who are new to O365 as of January 2024, and they don't want to incur the additional expense of deploying Operator Connect, deploying phone system license, upgrading to E5A5. They're happy with what they have without the phone system element. Now we have customers that are previously invested in E5 or A5. Within Clearspan, we're not necessarily only a team shop. We're not at all. We have our own soft client that we provide to our service provider or VARs. We call it Ping, completely built in-house, fully brandable, white labelable, whatever you want to call it. It can be represented as your soft client versus someone else's. And we've also taken a departure from Teams in that we have built more telephony or UC centric features within to the soft client, where Teams does a lot of stuff great. It doesn't have a whole plethora of UC type features that exists within the telephony space. So we really focused on telephony. And of course, we still have collaboration, SMS, chat, screen share, elevation from a call to video, etc. So all that exists within our soft client natively, and it's also rolled into the price of our UC user. So there's no incurred additional expense on the customer like there is with MS Teams.
So let's focus on this a second here with your solution. It sounds like there's a lot of ways you can go. You could be you could have a customer that's very heavily invested in Teams, or you can go the other way.
Absolutely. We want, again, to make it easy for us to do business with us. And if we have a customer who isn't heavily invested in Teams or has something in Teams they don't like, we can offer our Ping soft client, which works fantastically well. If a customer is heavily invested in MS Teams, maybe they have a large base of existing users, we have built a very tight integration within our provisioning platform that allows my provisioning platform to create and provision the direct routing customer automatically, if you will. So it eliminates the need for the O365 admin to be tracked down, to sync multiple times when a user is modified. So we make it very easy for a telephony administrator to build and provision Teams users via the PowerShell scripts and APIs.
And that's a big thing, right? That saves a lot of time and effort.
Absolutely. Folks who are doing direct routing oftentimes have multiple portals they need to go into, including O365. We reduce that down to one, and we just kind of go with that. It's a very streamlined experience for our customers that do require Teams. And then our own soft client is integrated in a very similar way from that common administrative portal. You can spin up your ping users much quicker than Teams, but Teams still isn't slow and tedious.
Now, at the top of our podcast, with all this discussion about Teams and other options too, you described yourself, I think, as a service provider for service providers. That sounds a little unique.
It is. With what we do, we realize that, whether you go to a service provider, whether you go to a VAR, these guys have relationships with their customers that continue to exist. And they oftentimes have their own relationship with a trunking provider. They also have, potentially a relationship with other various industry plugins. And we allow them to bring whatever they want within the Clearspan Cloud environment. We also allow them to facilitate their own billing. So the customer does not exist on our paper. The customer exists on the VAR or the service provider's paper. So they maintain their asset and they're not losing that valuability of that asset. I don't know if valuability is a word, but
we may have just coined it. Why not? Right.
Right.
But I mean, the point is, and it's interesting that you're describing this. It seems to be even a step beyond traditional white labeling. Yes.
Even with some of the traditional white labeling, that customer can be seen to some degree as an asset. And a lot of the other white label providers, the asset is maintained by the partner that's bringing the customer on board, but there's still sometimes a requirement, if you will, or a desire to have that partner purchase hardware, et cetera, from that vendor's provisioning portal. And we just kind of let you do whatever you've been doing. We just do the heavy lifting of running the UC platform on your behalf. And of course, offer first line of support, second line of support, whatever is negotiated within that partner VAR service provider.
And plus the buy what you consume, you're only buying what you consume model.
Correct.
And then then you mentioned this tremendous flexibility and accommodation of Teams, or maybe the customer you have isn't that big on Teams.
Right, exactly. We want to provide choice to our customers. We'd love for them to use Ping. We think it's a great product, but if they, want to use Teams, we certainly offer a valuable solution to them if that's the route they want to go.
And one last thing as we close up our podcast today, that as we were talking about this before, historically and today, although Teams is a great product, Microsoft is a great company and so on, it is not a telecoms company.
Right.
And so there's always this functionality that's left behind for Teams users.
Right. The focus within our Ping soft client has always been from inception in telephony features, not just collaboration and chat features. And at the end of the day, in Clearspan, we're phone people. So we understand customer desires, et cetera. And we want to make products that we want to make meaningful software for our customers that benefit them. And building those telephony-centric features is the direction that we've gone.
Ross, I really want to thank you for joining me today. And on behalf of the Cloud Communications Alliance and Technology Reseller News, this has been a great follow-up podcast from your partner news and VAR News last year. Where can we learn more about Clearspan?
Definitely go to clearspancloud.com. Reach me or any of our sales folks on LinkedIn. We're always happy to help. Doors always open. Love to talk to you, Doug. Thanks for having me on again.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you at some of the upcoming events, but for now, thank you very much indeed.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a great day.